Welcome back to Closing Time with Nick El-Tawil. I am, once again, Nick El-Tawil, and I'm here with my guest today, Lou Maccarone of Stage to Sell Design. What's up, Lou?
Not much. Thank you for having me on here, Nick. Appreciate the opportunity.
Of course, yeah. And, when you first worked with me, you did that apartment for me at Optima, and you asked me about the podcast. So I guess you had seen this before.
Yeah, well, I had seen you guys. There was like a little video billboard just right in downtown Old Town, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
I know that guy."
Back when we had the old studio.
Yeah.
Well, that's so cool. I'm glad we got to finally get you on here, since you noticed that before we had even met.
Great, fantastic.
So, Lou, you are a home stager. That's what your company does, Stage to Sell Design. I have to say, I've done real estate for a long time. Every stager I've worked with has been a woman. You are a man who owns a staging company. That's awesome, because I feel like there's always stress when I'm working with, woman as a home stager. It's like if you don't have a really close relationship with that person, there's just like tension. It's just hard to explain. But guy to guy, I feel like we can be more business focused. I feel like that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, well, I will say my wife is also part of the business, so she's involved also. So it's not just me.
But that's good. You can double up.
Yeah,
you can say,
exactly.
I'll work with Nick. You work with this female agent.
Yeah.
And then you guys have both covered.
Exactly.
That's why husband-wife teams in real estate work so well.
Yeah, exactly right. We just kind of fill in for each other's strengths and weaknesses, and works really well.
I love it. And again, super rare thing. Every stager I've worked with has always been like a single woman.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say, the staging market in Arizona, there's about 300 staging companies in Arizona. Probably 285, 290 of them are sort of like one-man shows, or like, one man with like a couple of, people to fill in or help out from time to time. So there's really only a handful of companies that are like, full-fledged businesses. So we have, a small truck fleet. We have, a number of employees, an entire staging team. So that's, maybe one reason why we do things just a little bit different.
Because you have a real company.
Yeah, we have a lot. Yeah. I mean, all those other staging companies, they're real companies too.
Yeah.
But, we're just a little bit bigger. And so,
you have infrastructure.
And honestly, it takes both my wife and I to keep it all together some days. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, we talked a little bit about coming in and telling people why home staging is beneficial for them. I get it. I've been in homes without furniture. I've been in homes with furniture. It's night and day. But people who don't live and breathe real estate like me, they might not get that difference. Like, oh, why am I paying this much money? Sure. And it comes out of their pocket most of the time, the seller.
Yeah.
Because it's an expense that, it's just too much for a broker like me to take on for every single listing.
Sure.
Right? I'd make no money if I had to pay for staging every time.
Sure.
So can you tell us a little bit about how beneficial it could be for potential clients or people selling their homes?
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's three reasons that we kind of think about why a home should be staged or when it should be staged. So the first is if we have a buyer concern that we know that we want to address through staging. So like if you've got a house that's like, it has a tricky dining area, or it's, we're not really sure what we're going to do with this part of the home, or maybe the floors could use some updating and we want to kind of distract from that.
Put a rug over it.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Anything that's like, this home could really benefit from, addressing some of the shortcomings with this particular listing, then staging can be really, really beneficial for that. The second reason is competition. So in other words, anytime you're selling your home, you are competing with the other sellers that are in your neighborhood. And if those other sellers, if they are, if they're spending extra money on really nice photography, they're doing professional home staging, they are doing the drone, doing, the 3D walkthrough, all of that stuff, they're professional landscaping, and your house isn't, well, you're competing against those guys. So you're not going to get the same offers, you're not going to sell for as high as the competitors that your buyers are looking at. And then the third reason that you might want to stage is if you're trying to get over a hump, is what we call it. So you've had a house that's been on the market for 60 days, for 90 days, you haven't got any offers, but you feel like you're close. Like you just feel like if I had just a little bit, just a little bit more than these people that have been walking through and not making offers, like they were close, they would put the offer in and actually take the home. And that's actually something that we see fairly regularly. We'll have an agent that comes to us and says, hey, this house has been on the market 90 days. I've gotten no offers, but I've had a lot of people walking through. We stage it, and they'll get 2 offers the first weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fantastic, anecdote, the value of home staging.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah, because people don't really know how to use a space, and I always learned this when I first got into real estate. I said, don't give people square footage because they don't know what it means. Mm-hmm. People don't really know what it means. Even we as agents don't even know what it means because people measure square footage differently for different types of homes or different things. Maybe they're doing from inside the wall, from outside the wall. You just don't know. So unless you're reading every offering plan and, digging through fine details, no one does. So it's all about how something feels. Mm-hmm. And when you walk into it, what's the impression it leaves on you. Yeah. And that impression is just so much stronger if there's furniture and you can see exactly how it's used or how it's laid out.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about the first 8 seconds, like when a buyer first walks into the home, when they open the door, mm-hmm. You've got 8 seconds to make a very strong first impression. And so, if they come in that first 8 seconds and it's a weak first impression, you're going to spend the rest of the tour like trying to sell them the home, trying to overcome them. They're like, oh, I'm not really interested, and you're trying to sell it to them. Mm-hmm. You go the other way, you want them to walk in and be wowed, and then all of the shortcomings that they might see in the home, they're gonna be like trying to talk themselves out of being concerned of them. Like, mm-hmm. I really want this home because I just loved it as soon as I saw it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. I feel like, staging something after it's been on the market, because you mentioned that for mm-hmm. number 3. I don't like doing that because you don't have the photos with furniture in it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that makes a big difference too.
Yeah.
How do you think about that?
Yeah, so what a lot of agents say and what we say also is like when you first come on the market, that first day on the market, that's your most selling power, right?
Yeah.
Like that's when you're going to get the most eyes. And so anytime you're thinking about selling your home, you want to come on day one with like your best foot forward.
Exactly.
You're going to have the buyers with the most intent are going to be there. The buyers that, they've been looking for a long time and they look at every new listing that pops up, they're going to see that day. So day one is very important. Mm-hmm. And you were asking specifically about photos, and honestly, a lot of times it's the photos on Zillow or whatever website they're using, the MLS listings. That's what is pulling the eyes in. That's what getting people to come visit. So mm-hmm. If you do stage your home in the middle of a listing, we do recommend that you go ahead and do photos, even if they're just basic photos, but just something to let buyers know what they're going to see when they get in the door.
Exactly. And the virtual staging has kind of made that a little easier. If something's mm-hmm. totally vacant, seller absolutely won't stage it, yeah, I'll do the virtual staging.
Yeah.
But to get it from day one with the real staging, real furniture, mm-hmm. it just makes such a huge difference.
It does, yeah. Virtual staging is definitely a hot topic in the staging world. In terms,
I love it for rentals.
Yeah.
Because renters, if you're a landlord, you're not going to pay to stage it every time you lease it up.
Yeah.
So, the virtual staging is the next best thing.
Yeah, it's the next best thing, absolutely. And so, if you can't do staging on the listing, then definitely do virtual staging. But what we do see sometimes, or what some agents say to us is, hey, I virtually staged this home, and then when I brought the buyer in, they were kind of disappointed because it didn't look like
right
what they were. So first impressions are so important.
Absolutely. Yeah, I very, very strongly try and avoid those virtual staging situations with sales listings mm-hmm. because it does make a big difference when they walk in. But if you have to do it, I'll settle for it.
It's better. One of my personal pet peeves is like I open up a listing and I'm looking at a blank empty room, and then another blank empty room that looks exactly the same, and then another blank empty room that looks exactly the same.
Right, you can't tell.
Did I see 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, a den, an office? You don't know. So at least virtual staging can address that and say like, okay, these were different discrete bedrooms that I was looking at.
Right. It wasn't a different angle of the same bedroom.
Yeah.
It was an actual different bedroom. You can tell because it's different furniture.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's all about making it as easy as possible for people to understand, which is sales 101.
Yeah.
You dumb it down, spoon feed it to them.
Exactly.
So how long have you been in the staging business?
So Stage to Sell Design has been around this is year 13 for us. My wife and I acquired it about 3 years ago. And in that time, we've done probably around 1,000 stages since then. So it's been kind of a whirlwind for us. We've grown the company significantly since taking it over, and had a lot of fun doing it too.
So were you staging before that?
I was not staging before that, but my wife and I have both kind of been, somewhat peripherally involved in real estate for a number of years as landlords, Airbnb hosts. My wife was a property manager for many years, so kind of been around.
Yeah, it's real estate. It's all the same thing. It's just what aspect of it do you work in, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so what were you doing before that? 3 years ago, you purchased Stage to Sell.
Yeah. So in my prior life, I was actually a technology consultant, traveling around and working with large companies. So.
Okay, that's quite the change.
Yeah, quite the change. I did that for about 15 years, living on the road, living in hotels for years, and kind of that career had kind of run its course, and decided to switch it up and try something new.
Are you having more fun now?
I would say so. Business ownership is like the highest highs and the lowest lows. That's what they say. So when we have a good day, we have a really good day. But when we have a bad day, or when the team has a bad day, we all feel it. So.
Yeah, for sure. You carry others' pain because you're responsible for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel that too. But I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah. It's an adventure every day. It really
every
is.
day. You're never bored.
Yeah.
Sure. So your last name, Maccarone.
Yeah.
You were named after a cookie. Did you know that, sir?
Macaroons are actually one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite cookies, actually. So.
And you are Italian.
I'm Italian, yeah.
Yeah, and macaroons are Italian.
I think originally French, but it's all good.
So is there a macaroon that we could have? Maybe as like a client gift, the macaroon.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea, yeah. We do Christmas baskets, a lot of time, and just hand those out to the people that we worked with that year. That's actually a great idea to to tie that in.
So who are your big clients? Are they people coming to you directly? Or is it mostly agents who refer you business? How does that work?
Yeah, so I would say 70% of the time it's agents. We have a lot of word of mouth. Just folks that have used us before, and they refer us to their friends, other agents in their brokerage or whatnot. And then maybe 30% are homeowners that just come to us directly. Maybe they don't even have an agent yet. They just know they want to stage, and they're want to get it done.
That's interesting.
Or they want to at least know, like, a lot of folks have never staged before, so they just come to us because they want to know, how does the process work? What does it cost? How does this whole thing happen?
Interesting. Because I personally would never think, oh, I'm going to stage my home, but I sell real estate, so I know it's beneficial.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to me that people come to you directly.
Yeah. Well, I think when staging started to go a little bit mainstream, like there's the TV show Selling Sunset, that kind of really people thought, oh, maybe that's something I should do. And in the Phoenix market specifically, we've really seen the Phoenix market evolve in the last, 5-7 years. We've seen prices come up a lot, and as listing prices have increased, it makes more and more sense to, invest in that home, invest in that listing, and staging makes more sense.
So I cut my teeth in real estate in New York, and you would never see a totally empty listing, $1 million plus with no furniture in it. Here I see it all the time. And if I go out to like Gilbert or Chandler, like you'll see $700,000-$800,000 homes that are just totally empty. It's a normal thing. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
And staging out here is so much less expensive than New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know you did a quote for me right now for a house in Gilbert. It was like $4,000 for like your top tier package. Like you were gonna, do all the rooms, $4,000.
Yeah.
Which on, let's say we sell that one for $600,000. That's like 0.6% of the total price. That's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. In New York, I would tell clients expect between 1% and 3% of the sales price. So for $1 million listing, let's say it's 2%. That's $20,000.
Yeah.
So,
that's
quite the difference.
That's what we hear. Manhattan is typically about 10x what the Phoenix market would be. So, if you are thinking about listing your home and you're thinking about what kind of investment do I want to make, 0.6% is going to really give you a leg up on your competition. It's going to help ensure that you're actually getting your list price when you start to get offers. People come to us because they see the ROI. And typically, like once agents start to stage their home, they start to believe in it. They start to stage their listings. And once homeowners start to stage, once they have sold one home with staging, they tend to sell all of their homes with staging from then on.
As they should. It's even less than that most of the time. Like that was an extreme example, the Gilbert one. The Optimal one you did for me, that was, 1.1 million.
Yeah.
For 3,500, like 0.3%.
Yeah.
So half the cost.
Very tiny as compared to, and again, that's because our market has, increased in value so much, since 2020. It's it really kind of changed the dynamic around, how we list and how we approach real estate.
Yeah. I mean, if you think staging can benefit you at all, like any sort of benefit, it doesn't take very much for it to be worth more than 0.3%
exactly
of your total asking price.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, very slim margins there.
Yeah. I mean, if you get 1% more in sales price because you staged, then you
pay for itself 3 times over.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it just blows my mind how different it is between here and New York. New York was,
It's expected. And, we see in staging and in real estate in general, we see a lot of the trends in LA sort of make their way over to the Phoenix market. And staging is one of them. Like kind of the trend that we have seen in the Los Angeles market is, staging more of the homes, staging a greater percentage of the home when you stage. And then also like just sort of an increase in the expectation for like, the luxury level of the staging that you're putting in the home, which of course makes sense because, even a starter home is, $500,000 now. So we've seen that in Los Angeles, and then we kind of see that, making its way out into the Phoenix market as an expectation now.
Now, on that note of staging only part of the home, what do you recommend or what do you think works best if someone doesn't want to, maybe it's an 8-bedroom house, they don't want every single bedroom staged. Where do you draw that line? Like, what do you think is the most important room for someone to stage?
Yeah, so we always want to come out and see the home first before we make that determination. And that's kind of part of the value that we provide is just do that consultation and walk through and discuss things with you. The most important thing, like we talked about earlier, the first 8 seconds. So when you open that door and you walk into the home, what do you see? That's the most important thing is make that really good first impression. And then we'll sort of branch off from that, so the common areas are typically the most important. We say the primary suite because you want to impress the person that's going to be paying the mortgage. And then if the backyard is a big selling point for the home, then a lot of times it makes sense to go ahead and stage the patio and just, invite people out there and bring them out there to take a look. So those are probably the most important areas. And then occasionally, you'll kind of layer on some other things if there's selling points of the home. Like if you're targeting if you've got a multi-generational suite and you're targeting a buyer that's like, that could benefit from that, that's who you're trying to sell to, then, we probably want to go ahead and stage that. Anything that the agent or the seller feels like this is what's going to sell my home, that's what we want to highlight and, bring the buyer there.
It sounds awesome. I mean, that's exactly what I agree with too.
Mm-hmm.
Make the first impression, do the common areas. Every single bedroom, yeah, maybe you don't want to do the third or fourth bedroom or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're going to skimp anything, do that.
Yeah.
But, kitchen, common areas, primary bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
and the backyard, if the backyard's a selling point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I hope that shows everybody I am not just telling you to spend your money. It returns for you if you put it in the right places.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lou, do you have anything else you want to share for us? Any staging knowledge, anything about yourself?
I thought I would tell just a couple of staging anecdotes. So we had an interesting home up on the side of Camelback. That was the home was all circle, like the entire house was built as a circle. And
was this the Frank Lloyd Wright one that's been going all over social media?
I don't think it was a Frank Lloyd Wright one.
Mm-hmm.
This was a couple years ago.
Okay.
So
it's been on the market for years. That's why I'm asking.
It was anyhow, the whole house was a circle, and the sellers wanted us to put all circle furniture in there, and we thought that is going to kind of limit your buyer pool to like only people that really like circle furniture. Like, it sounds a little weird, but we always talk about in staging, should we, like, if you have a theme house, do we lean into that theme or do we lean out? And so if you have a strong theme and you lean into it, then you're really narrowing your buyer pool to like only people that, it's a Southwestern home, only people that have like a cowboy motif kind of going on. If you have a circle home and you make everything circle themed, then like you're you're just boxing yourself in, basically.
Circling yourself in.
You're circling yourself in, exactly. So they really wanted us to do circle theme, so we did that. We installed it. They did not like it. We took it out and swapped it out for kind of like just kind of neutralizing furniture, and they liked it a lot better. And that one did eventually sell, or at least it went under contract with sort of the normal furniture in it. But anyway, the point is, when we think about a house that's got a theme, do we lean into that or lean out? And we typically recommend to kind of lean out, neutralize it, get a wider buyer pool that would be interested in that home. So yeah,
I love that, and I agree with that most of the time.
Most
if
of the time.
something's so themed that you can't avoid it, I tell people to lean into it.
Yeah.
Have you ever leaned into it before?
Like a industrial loft, for example, we'll kind of lean into that.
Okay.
It's always a discussion that we'll have with the agent. Like, if we lean into this, we are going to we're going to narrow our buyer pool. But when you find your buyer, they're going to be high intent buyers. Like, they're going to really want this house, and they're going to pay asking price or even more than that. But it could take a long time to find that buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if we neutralize it, we kind of, lean out and just make it appeal to, broader buyer base, the house will probably sell, it's going to sell more quickly, but you're not necessarily going to be able to ask like the very top of the market for that house.
Yeah.
So, it's always a discussion.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I appreciate the conversation. Thank you so much for coming on, and I hope you get to stage many more of my listings soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Nick. We definitely appreciate it, and thank you.
Lou Maccarone, eat his macarons, and stage your house with him. See you guys.